Hi everybody, welcome to this fine morning. I'm here to showcase our newest design software called Connection Design. So let's get started. So to access Connection Design, you go into the design menu and we're going to be looking at standalone connection design in this video. In another video, I'll be showing off integrated connection design, which integrates with structural 3D. So for standalone connection design, we launch the software here and we select our design code. So at the current time, we have AISC 36010 for ASD and LRFD provisions. So for this example, I'm going to be doing ASD. So we start the design and we're transitioned over to the connection design menu. Now, you're given the option here to either provide us feedback, which we definitely value, as well as to add your connection assembly from scratch. So you add your connection assembly and you're provided with a pop-up and you're given the option to select between two different categories. At the moment, truss is not available, but we have W to W and HSS to W categories when you're considering the parent to child relationship or the supported to supporting member relationship. Now, the type represents the loading type, so whether you're considering shear connections or moment connections, axial connections to be announced later on. So if you consider the shear connections or the moment connections present in either HSS to W, you're given different combinations. So in this video, I'll keep things a little bit simple by picking firstly a single angle, and you're given the option of selecting how the members connect to each other. So whether you want the parent to be connected at the flange as shown here, or whether the parent to be connected at the web as shown here. So I'm going to be taking a look at the parent web in this one, and you just click the image to kick off that design. So what you can see here, we've created this one connection here, but we haven't really specified very much. So we can either edit the connection here or delete the connection. So I'm going to be editing it here. So now we transition to this individual UI where we're given the option to edit different parameters. So let's take a look at what we can edit. We click this button here for the parent member. So the parent member represents the supported member. In the top right hand corner, we have a link for documentation. So if you click that, you're sent to the part of the documentation that's relevant to this area. So in most of these fields, you will have to be adding a section through this section database. So for example, I want to be adding a different section to this W18 to 35 cross section. So I'm going to be going through my catalog and I'm going to be selecting, for example, a W shape, but I want to select a different W shape. I want to select this W30 to 477. So I hit submit. That sends a ping to our server and it comes back with some results for this particular cross section. So now that this is updated, I'm happy with this. I want to start and take a look at what this looks like through the render. So not doing any design just yet, just taking a look at what this connection looks like. So what you can see here is it's performed the render and you can adjust the views. Here you can take a look at surfaces with wireframes. The previous one was surfaces only, and you can also take a look at it with purely wireframes. You can also adjust the transparency if you wish, and that's usually only relevant when you have surfaces. And you can also choose different views, whether it's the front view, the back view, the right view, and so on. So that's a quick rundown over our renderer. Let's take a look at how we modify our parameters. Say for example, I'm also not happy with this this cross section for this child member or the supporting member. So I click the child member and you're presented with these dimensions. So again, it was W18 to 35. I want to change that to something else. So I want to pick, say, a HP shape, and I'm going to select a 18 to 135. I'm going to hit submit. That updates the dimensions here. I click out and I want to re-render that to see how that looks in my my model. You'll notice that it's updated with the different cross section for the red child member. So I do quite like surfaces with wireframes, so I'll just keep it at that for now. Let's move on to our connection menu. So the connection menu gives you different options to edit parameters relating to the particular connection. So when you look at the specifications, you can edit material properties here, so the yield strength or the ultimate strength. You can also assign where you want the connection to be rendered on, the left or the right hand side. For the dimensions, this is critical to your particular connection. So for whichever connection you are designing, you need to be referencing the drawing here to be able to understand which dimension is which. So if you take a look at H here, H is assigned to this direction here along the web of the child. L, which is the length here, is this extruded length, and so on for the other dimensions. So if I take a quick look at my connection, maybe I consider this to be a little bit too small. I want to be making it a little bit longer. So if I wanted to be making it reference to the web of the child, it would be H, the height, minus top flange thickness and bottom flange thickness. So these two thicknesses, that's 1.5 added up. So that would be 16 to give me this web height here. So if 16 is my web height, I want to be making something a little bit longer. So less than 16 but higher, so maybe I want to double this to 10. And I also consider H to be a little bit short here, so I'm going to make this 8. And I'd like to thicken this up by doubling these values. So BFW was this length here, so I'm going to make this 6, and I'm going to double this one here. And now I'm going to re-render that and take a look at how this looks now. So what you can see is that it has adjusted the dimensions as specified, but what you might be able to notice is that some of the welds now don't look quite right, and as well as this bolt pattern here, it might not be exactly what I want as well. So going back into this is where we adjust these in here. So the parent fixture basically is saying how the connection piece itself, so this, in this example, it's a single angle, how the single angle attaches to the parent member. Okay, so in this example, we have the option of changing between bolts and welds, but I'll keep with welds. And with the welds, you're assigned a weld pattern. So we have a top lap, a bottom lap, a left lap, and a right lap. So you have to look at the drawing to understand which sides these are actually specifying. So if you're considering the parent side, if you wanted to be assigning the top lap matches with the H dimension here. So the H dimension we specified as 8. So if I wanted to be the full width, I'd be 8, 8, and the left lap and the right lap. So the left lap and the right lap match with the L dimension, and the L dimension is 10. So I'm going to make this the full width of 10 and 10. And before we move on, let's just re-render that. Okay, so it seems like I've made a slight mistake here. Now the going back into the drawing, right? So the top lap and the bottom lap actually match up to the bottom flange width dimension here. So the bottom flange width is 6, and so that means to do the full lap length, I do 6. So I'm going to re-render that. And now I have the full widths. So now let's take a look at the child 1 fixture. So the reason why it's called child 1 is because we consider this to be child member 1 because there can be more children attached. So this child 1 fixture is basically saying how the single angle connects itself to this child 1 member. So in this instance, you can also choose welds or you can choose bolts. So I want to be illustrating bolts in this example, and you specify the pattern according to this diagram. So for the child side, these are specified as columns and these are specified as rows. So if I wanted to be making a pattern that's 2 by 2 and I want to be making them equally spaced, we provide this handy feature to let you know that you can't be specifying the ending dimension. So RE stands for row end, R1 stands for the first datum length, and then RS is the row spacing, and you can apply that kind of concept to the column spacings as well. So we provide this handy feature where you can actually estimate, it actually automatically calculates the row ending. So if you specify 2 and 5, and it's based on the dimensions of your plate, of your single angle. So if I want to make this equal spaced, the easy way to do this would be R1 plus RE, that's 7. So 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. So 3.5, and a column spacing, we'll just set that, leave that as 3. And 2 plus 3 gives us 5, and so I'm going to specify 2.5 here. And you can also change the hole sizing to be standard or oversized. I'm just going to leave it at standard for now. And I'm going to re-render this result. And just like that, we've created a hole pattern that's equally spaced for the ends. It's just a little bit hard to see at an angle. This is where transparency comes in handy, as well as equally spaced from the top and the bottom. Now let's take a quick look at the bolt and the weld menus. So the bolt menu, it lets you specify many different bolts. So the way to think about this is, imagine you went to the hardware store and you're buying different types of bolts. These parameters basically specify the types of bolts you're using. So before we change the first bolt, which is the default bolt, I'm going to be adding a second bolt. The second bolt we can edit, and they're all assigned a different ID. So for the current moment, you can choose to be including or excluding the thread. You can be specifying different grades. So these strength values are assigned. Let's see, this is the tensile strength if you hover over it, and this is the nominal tensile strength. You can change the different material, as well as the size of the bolt and the length of the bolt here. You can also specify deformation to be on or off. And we'll take a look at assigning a slightly bigger bolt here, because these bolts here look a little bit small. So I'm going to specify this value here, and I'm going to hit apply. So you'll notice that this bolt is now defined. So this is given an ID of 2, and if I want to be able to assign this bolt, I pick a fixture ID of 2 for this bolt. Now I'm going to hit render again. And you'll notice that I have some bolts. So I think these bolts are actually a little bit too big. So I'm going to edit that, and I'm going to pick 7/8 instead. Hit apply. So before I re-render once more, let's take a look at how we can edit the welds in a similar way. So these welds here, maybe you consider these to be a little bit small. So I'm going to do the same kind of process where I add another weld. I edit the second weld here. At the moment, we only do fillet welds, and you can specify the grade. And if you hover over, this is the weld grade, this is the weld size. I'm going to pick a different grade which affects the weld strength. And I'm going to thicken these up by doubling this to be 0.4 inches. So I'm going to hit apply there. And I'm going to assign this new ID to the weld ID of 2. And then I'm going to re-render once more. And now I think these bolts look a bit more reasonable, and those welds look okay, as far as I can tell. And at this point in time, I am moderately happy with my design, so I'm going to hit check design. But wait, before you can actually check design, you actually have to apply some forces. So this notification lets you know that there are 0 force values for all of your members, so that's not allowed. So if you go into the forces tab, you're informed about some different properties. So in this example, you can take a look at the forces that you have options for. So if you take a look at the x-axis, that's the axial direction. So all of these directions, fx, fy, and mz, they are local to the member, whether you're looking at the parent member or the child member. So hopefully this clears things up. X is the axial, y is the one of the shear directions along the web direction for an I-beam, and the z direction is along the flange direction of the I-beam. So I'm just going to be making up some numbers here. So this is really just for illustrative purposes. And after I've edited these values, you can also change some project details, but that's not necessary. This tab here illustrates some of the factors we use. So now we're up to the point where we want to be checking our design. So we hit the check design button. It actually reruns the renderer just in case it was out of date. And it provides you with a summary of all the different checks that we do here. So we've checked a varying list of checks here. And you're provided with a different set of results that you can review. So for example, if you hit the report button, this pop-up comes out which shows you our design report, which runs through every individual calculation that was done. So for example, this is the web angle shear yielding for this particular profile. And so we run through all of the calculations, we provide you the references from the design code, we show you how we come to the calculation as well as the overall result that we come to here. So you're provided with two options, whether you wanted to download this as HTML or download this as a PDF. So let's take a quick example. So this is now available as an easy to read PDF that you can store for your own documentation. So when you close that off, what other files are available? If you hit the drawing button, you're presented with a new tab that gives you the drawing for your particular connection. So whilst this might not be exactly what you're after, this gives you a starting point for some of your detailing for your connection. So I mentioned that this might not be what you're after, but we do provide you the ability to actually download the CAD model. So what's rendered in the browser is a real step file CAD model. So if you download the CAD model here, so I'm just going to download, I'll just put it on my desktop. Whoops. I'll just put it in my downloads. You can download the step model here, and you can open that up in any of your preferred modeling packages of choice, whether that be SolidWorks, CATIA, or so on. So this has been a quick rundown of standalone connection design. One thing I'll mention before I kick off is that this allows you to design one connection. If you go back here, you can kick off and design another connection just like this. So previously we designed the single angle, we can also design a single plate. And so if you hit render, you'll notice that we've now rendered a single plate here. So you can design just as you did before. I can edit some values. I'll just make these up for now. Hit check design for this one. And in just a few short clicks, you've analyzed a full design for a single plate. Now you hit the back button, you'll notice that we have the summary table of the results still here. So if you wanted to save your design, so you simply save the design. I'm just going to call this connection design demo. Save this. And so if you ever to start from scratch again, so imagine you were starting from scratch, you just hit File, Open, you load the previous file, Connection Design Demo, and you're exactly where you left off. You can hit the Edit button, and this is exactly as you had before for all of your parameters. So this provides you an easy way to start and continue your different designs. In another video, we'll take a look at how integrated connection design can also save you time when modeling from S3D and moving into connection design. Thanks, and bye for now.